Amos and Andy began as two white men, Charles Carrell and Freeman Godsden, donned blackface and played black men on the radio in 1928. But television demanded real professional black actors. The show aired from 1951 to 1953. My favorite show character is Sapphire Stevens, married to the Kingfish. Now, what have you heard about bathrobe wearing, husband nagging Sapphire Stevens with her overbearing mama, both warring with poor George Kingfish Stevens? The racial stereotypes about angry black women preceded this show. Black women berating black men, never satisfied and just hard to get along with. These hateful, negative stereotypes permeated America during the Jim Crow era, citing middle and low income black women. Some called her a sapphire. And here, Sapphire Stevens is a terror when provoked, like in this scene, when every male character at the Mystic Knights of the Sea Lodge drew back at her ire. The image of Sapphire, to some extent, was part of the race stereotype complaints made by black leaders that influenced the popular show's end in 1953. To be fair, blacks were on both sides of this argument, as many eagerly anticipated the next episode and watched religiously. Bishop William Jacob Walls of the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church in Chicago wrote an article sharply denouncing Amos and Andy for its lower class characterizations and crude, repetitious, and moronic dialogue. This was taken up by Robert Vann in the Pittsburgh Courier. But Robert Abbott of the Chicago Defender lauded the show's wholesome themes and good natured humor. George Kingfish Stevens was the undoubted star of Amos and Andy. He was a do it my way man, making money without seeming to have a job. He spent his days at the Mystic Knights of the Sea Lodge, often getting entangled in mischief with his best friend, Andy Brown. But always by his side was his wife, Sapphire, who did have a job. Though childless, she was an attentive housekeeper and was active in social causes. Yes, this black woman stood for no nonsense and bowed to her sometimes hateful mama. But she loved and supported her husband of over 25 years. Retro is always a better barometer of relevant history because some of the then day vitriol and racial biases have dissipated enough to look again for better insight. That's what I did. I watched the shows again. What did I see? A re examination of Sapphire's image. Sapphire disappears. Kingfish is worried. Sapphire has disappeared. No note, no clothes gone, no trace of her, and a roast left in the oven. It's been 2 days. He calls his pals, Amos and Andy. We've got to find Sapphire. The show continues to uncover clues. Mama had convinced Sapphire to leave Kingfish and travel to Miami with her. The show reveals just how important Sapphire is to George. And in the end, Sapphire reciprocates, showing how much she loves Kingfish. The girl at the station. George, the ladies' man, goes too far. Sapphire threatens to leave him with Mama's full support. The Kingfish tries to make it up, but every way he turns, it turns out wrong. Sapphire, too, has second thoughts about leaving because, she says, my marriage is important to me. After over 20 years of marriage, George states his regrets about possibly ending the best love affair in Brooklyn. Oh, how he loves Sapphire. Second honeymoon, 25 years. Second honeymoon, just like the first. The lovers. They talk about what makes a happy marriage. Then the challenges begin. Do they stand a chance? Do they make it to the Niagara Falls second honeymoon? Amos and Andy Revisited, and a new definition of Sapphire Stevens that is more realistically depicting Black women in proper character, then and today.